Sharing concept. Everything comes to the table family style, so all people have to participate in it. It's $55 a person. So for the four of you, and you would count what you would get four of these, something like that. So that way, they feel comfortable. You feel comfortable explaining that to people. But we'll go over that. But when you go over the menu with people, you'll see that it's in sections. It's so easy now compared to what it used to be. And we don't really want to say no to anybody. There are some things on the menu like Moroccan fried chicken. I have not had that, but I can already tell you that it's going to be ordered all the time, and I haven't had it. Because why? It sounds kind of what? It sounds kind of safe, doesn't it? It doesn't sound as adventurous as some of the other food on the menu. One of the things that people probably would not order if you didn't tell them is the Lebanese with feta. We have 4 dips. They're all amazing. They're the first 4. But the Lebanese with feta is, those of you who are here before, it's what? It's
out of this world.
It's ridiculous. It's so good and so hard to describe. For me, it's the best dip I've ever had anywhere, ever. I have gone, since this restaurant closed, into Publix. I've seen it, I've tasted it, it's horrible. I've gone into Whole Foods, it's horrible. It's not even kind of good, it's just not good. It's so good here that it will draw people back here, and they will say to you, I want that white dip. Has anybody looked at the menu that is Chief Managers have sent you? Has anybody looked at the menu?
Yes.
So when they say that we want the white dip, this is something we used to get all the time. What is when they say the white dip? How many white dips do we have? 2. Well, Sam said something. We have tzatziki here, which is also what? Cucumbers and yogurt. It's a very, 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 very traditional Greek dip, and it's very good here. But the Lebanese is most of the time what they're talking about. So when they say, I want that white dip, oh my God, you've been closed for 3 months, I have to have that white dip. You better explain to them which one they're talking about. Say, you probably are referring to the Lebanese better. Okay? But we also have the cucumbers and yogurt. You describe both of them to them, and they'll probably be like, this is the Lebanese that you're talking about. The Lebanese comes with laffa bread. The laffa bread is also amazing. Now, the laffa bread changed several times since I worked here. It was bigger, thicker, and it had butter or something on it, and then it was flat. I've seen different ones. So I know now that what it looks like is kind of like, for those who were here before, what it used to look like a long time ago, except it's half size. Okay? So as you go through the menu, does anybody have, if you have any questions about any of the food, there are certain things in the menu that are huge sellers. Lebanese with feta, spicy cigars. What else? Those of you who worked here before, what else is a huge seller here? In fact, the old general manager told me here that even though Lebanese fetas ordered the most, what dish on the menu had the most revenue? That was the lamb shawarma.
Oh, really?
Lamb is an acquired taste, right? Some people here are probably like, I don't like lamb.
I love lamb.
If you don't like lamb, but you're not allergic to meat, when you try the lamb shawarma here, you'll be like, except for this. The lamb shawarma is that good. I would never order lamb in a restaurant. It's not my thing. The way they cook it here is so delicious that people are shocked, and you can get people to try something because they come in here to be adventurous anyway. You can get them to try that, and they love it. They absolutely love it. When you all see the food, you're going to see that some of the food is easily shareable, and some not quite as easily shareable. Like the lamb shawarma comes in 2s. If you have a table of 4 people and they say lamb shawarma, I would suggest 2 because it's an extremely hard dish to cut. The lamb shawarma is the size of my fist. If you cut it open, if you try to share it and cut it, it falls completely apart all over the place and it ruins the dish because it's a small dish. The bread, what's on the bread, what's on the meat, it wraps together. It's like a burrito. All the flavors are in one. It's like tacos at the says. You roll them up and eat them. You don't want to have them open with a fork and knife. It doesn't have the same flavor. Some things are really easily shareable. Some are not quite as easily shareable. But the lamb shawarma comes in 2s. So if there's just me and Sam eating, We get our own one. We get our own lamb shawarma. But that's a dish that people will eat, and as soon as you walk away, they're like, "Hey, Keith, Keith!" You turn around. "You want another one of those?" They'll order another one. And I've had a lot of people. In fact, I had right before we closed, I had 2 tables at one time say, "You know what? I don't want dessert, but I'll have a lemonade with feta instead of dessert." Again, they'll repeat it at the end of the meal. Another one of our signature dishes is what? Brussels sprouts. Hand-picked Brussels sprout, I'll never forget this, and I dreamed about this. Hand-picked Brussels sprout leaves, flash fried and tossed with red wine vinegar, capers, chili flakes, and what's the last one? Almonds.
Sorry.
Well, I'm only here going over with the servers, and the bartenders. So if you're sitting in here and you're not a server or bartender, there is, I don't speak Spanish, so, I mean, everybody needs to know the menu, but this is only the first day and the very first few hours of training. Everybody, no matter what language you speak, will be able to understand what you're serving. Okay? And there are so many people that speak Spanish here, I'm sure somebody will sit down so everybody understands all of the food. So the Brussels sprouts is, like I said, very, 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 very popular. Extremely popular. So the Brussels sprouts come to the table, and that's another thing. People, they come here for those. I've had them other places. They're good. It's kind of trending now to have Brussels sprouts, especially SBE seems to have them everywhere. I still think these ones are the best ones. Yeah, they're all similar. Filia has them. Katsuya has them. We have them at DSC States. They have them here, but ours are the ones that are the most known. I know they're going to go over this, but you're going to have so many people ask you where the chef is from. Who owns the restaurant? Where's the chef from? Does anybody remember by the video where the chef is from?
He's born in Israel.
He's born in Israel, right? So that's a lot of this stuff is Israeli food. But where's his parents? Somebody know?
Japanese,
Half Japanese. So yeah, if somebody asks, they say, well, the chef is half Japanese, half Moroccan, but he was raised in Israel. A lot of people will ask that. And then what did they say the food? Where's the food from here? Like, what's this cuisine?
Mediterranean.
It's Mediterranean, but specifically what area?
East.
Yes, East Mediterranean. What else was very prominent there? Very prominent in the Mediterranean. But they said East Mediterranean and what? North what?
North Africa.
North
North
Africa.
Africa.
Which would be Tunisia, Morocco, Lebanon, a lot of them. Lebanon is obviously the most popular Middle Eastern food, most known. But in this restaurant, it's all over, and people ask me all the time. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to point to certain things on this menu, words that most Americans have no idea what they mean, and they're going to say, what exactly is this? What exactly is that? And that's why I still, to this day, if I see something on there I don't remember, I'm going to do like Audrey did and Google it and try to remember it because I know that they ask. And there's certain things that they ask a lot about. Now, for those of you who worked here before, the meatball tagine, meatless now. Those of you who worked here before, when you take a good look at this menu, all of the things that you wish were on the other menu are on this menu. All of the vegan people, the vegetarian people, it's all noted on here. All the allergies are on here. But even though the allergies are on here, when you ring something up, what do? Those of you who worked here before know that there has been some serious allergy scares in this restaurant. And what as a server, when you ring something in, how can you remove yourself from that situation? What do? You type it in. If this table that I said, remember Sam, Audrey, and Caesar are having 9 dishes, and Caesar has a nut allergy, and they're okay with it, what do you write down under every single solitary dish? Nut allergy, nut allergy. What if it's a salad and it doesn't have nuts? Do you still write it?
Yes.
Let me tell you something. It can be a huge, huge, huge deal. And some allergies are really, really bad. Really bad. So you always cover yourself and you write it on every single thing. One thing Delphine was talking about with me when we were talking about the training is position points. We really didn't use position points here before because of why? Because it's family style. But we have so many big parties here. Everybody needs to know where the position points are because Audrey is allergic to shellfish. The rest of us are not allergic to shellfish. When you have a big party like that, personally, I take Audrey's order. I say, Audrey, I'm going to take your order. I'm going to take it separately from everybody else's. And when I put on that ticket, I send it separate, and I put allergy, 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 allergy. And I'll put position 4, position 4, position 4, position 4 on every one. And even on top of that, I still sometimes, like I would come up to Sam or Steve, and I'd be like, hey, lady in the purple top, that is position 4, that. You cannot, go over it enough. You can't be clear enough with it. So as we go through this food, when you see all of this stuff, it's all going to make sense to you. But like I said, for the new servers, I'm going to go over like how to sell and everything. So when we open, I want you to be, and you're going to do a lot of role playing with me. You're going to sell me stuff. I'm going to ask you questions. I'm not going to ask you questions that nobody asks. I'm going to ask you questions that people ask. Sometimes do role playing and people say, well, what if the building burns down and then there's nuts in this plate? And I'm not going to ask you stupid questions like that, okay? I'm going to ask you stuff that happens. I've never been in a restaurant that has more requests, special requests, allergies. Every table has an allergy, it seems like. And no matter how dumb you think it is, I'm allergic to, how about this? I'm allergic to salt. What happens when you sweat? Do you just die? I'm allergic to salt. I've had that several times. I'm allergic to garlic. Garlic in this restaurant you're allergic to, that's a tough one. That's something you're going to have to get with the chef, and you're going to have to, we get it a lot. You have to tell people almost everything in here has garlic. You have to get with the chef about that. And I will tell you, those of you who have more with Chef Rich, he's the nicest chef ever. He doesn't scream and yell like most chefs do. And no matter how busy he gets, he's calm. He's great. You will love working with him. And he will work with you, and he's very good at getting things to the proper person. If there is a situation at the table, he will take care of it for you. He's great. Very approachable. That's a great question. And I know that those of you who walk in this room and you turn this menu over and look at this and you're like, oh my gosh, this might as well be a different language. This might as well be a foreign language. It is, it's hard. It is, even with the small amount of things. Leo and I had to learn 3 times this when we started. It was 3 times, and it was tiny little print, and people would look at it and like, woo! It was like a book. It looked like a big novel with little print written all over it. This one is easy. So when we go over the spiel, the menu spiels, I'm going to go over, and this is a new menu for me, so I have to change my spiel a little bit. There is no perfect spiel. But you do want to go over what you think that they will appreciate what you are saying, and that they will understand the concept of the restaurant, how the food comes out to the table. Okay? This section has meze. Does anybody know what that word is? Anybody else? Appetizer. Yeah, all those are right. But what does shared mains mean? Do they know? I mean, shared main means, hey, there's a main dish and we share it. It doesn't mean you have to share it. It means that this menu is a little different than the other menu. The other menu had these, and then it had steaks on the bottom. It had, you want a rack of lamb? You can have your own rack of lamb, you can have your filet mignon. This menu is not like that. This menu is different. This menu is written in a way that is supposed to be shared. It's everything on the menu shared. It doesn't mean you have to be, but the concept is the entire thing is tapas. It's all shareable. Mains mean it's a larger dish. It's a larger dish, sure. But it doesn't mean you have to. Those of you who worked here before, this is different. 3 kebabs. It's kind of like you go to Publix and it says 2 for $5. What happens if you get 1? Publix charge you $2.50, or do they charge you more? They don't want. No, they don't charge you more. They charge you $2.50. They want you to think it's more, so you do what? You buy 2. You buy 2. It's not. Now, I don't know exactly what the answer to this is. I know that they've talked about it, but what if somebody wants to get one kebab? Do you think we'll sell them one? Has anybody read the menu? It says 3. Are you going to sell them one? Yes. You know what Rich said? Whatever they want, we'll do it. A little different than the old Clio. You know why? Because they want to sell this menu. They want this food to come out. If the guest wants one, you sell them one.
Yeah, we in LA they quoted it charging it $11 one. It's 30, was it 33?
31. So,
31 for 3.
right, but we don't want to tell people, hey, I'm going to go over the menu with you. By the way, you can just get one of these.
Yeah, just don't advertise it. If they want to.
Publix never says one's $2.50, two is $5 though. They don't ever say that. When you see the 2 for $5, you don't say but one is $2.50. But next time you go to Publix, get one. You'll see $2.50. All right, so the kebabs here. The kebabs come in 3s. The kebabs come with sides. You see the sides? What do they serve with? Harissa. Does anybody who has not worked here before, if you worked here before, I know you know. And I know Audrey knows this already. Audrey has been looking at this menu a lot. Hopefully the rest of you who've worked here, or who have not worked here, have been looking at this menu, but I already know that you know. What is harissa? Now I know that you guys know. It's a spice. What color is it?
Right.
Yeah, it's one of the most asked things in this restaurant. We want more. We want it spicier. Harissa is very popular. It looks like it's outrageously spicy, like sriracha. It's not that. It's not like that. It's not that spicy. It also comes with pickled vegetables. So when you get kebabs, it's going to have a kebab and it's going to have pickled vegetables, and it's going to have harissa. We don't like pickled vegetables in harissa. Can we substitute something else for that? No, because that's like a garnish. It's a garnish. I don't know what the pickled vegetables are going to be here this time. The pickled vegetables we had last time, those are like olives. You either like them or you don't. I love them. I gotta eat them all day like a pregnant woman. Eat the pickled vegetables. I would even take the pickled stuff home and pickle my own vegetables. I like them that much. But the pickled vegetables, those of you who worked here before, guess what? Anything that was something that you had to go over with people because you were afraid that they weren't aware of something, it's clearly written out here. So much better, this menu. The allergies, the pickled vegetables, not pickles. It used to say pickles. In America, pickles are what?
Pickles.
They're green. They get those they would see carrots, celery, and cauliflower at the table, and they're like, what in the world is that? Where's the pickles? There's no pickles. It's pickled vegetables. And guess what? Cleo decided to change it to say pickled vegetables, not pickles. Another thing on this menu. This right here, so nice that he did it. Remember the cauliflower? People order the cauliflower. What wasn't really highlighted on the cauliflower? People with curry again. You don't. Okay. You either like curry or you don't. They changed it. Now guess what? You don't have to go over with people anymore because it said the name of the dish is curried cauliflower. So you don't have to say that curried cauliflower. It's curry in there.
I have it.
Hey, you didn't tell me to say curry in it because I have served. Like I said, I'm not an expert. Curried cauliflower come out. It said, yeah. What is that? I didn't know it had curry in it. Okay, well, guess what? Now they'll know it's there. Now the one thing on the menu, the one thing that is that you have to go over with somebody is when they order it is something that no one here probably would think. Okay, and that is the halloumi. The halloumi is. Does anybody, I mean, if you worked here before, really, this is not a question for you, because I know you know what it is. Okay, what is halloumi?
Cheese.
I know you know. Probably knows that. I want those of you who haven't worked here before to not get intimidated by people knowing all these answers. Do you know what halloumi is? I know Steve knows. I know you know. I know Sam knows. Halloumi is cheese. Now, you worked here before, let's all describe what kind of cheese that is. It's a very unusual cheese. What is it? What's the texture? What's it taste like? Everybody.
It's
Rubbery
firm.
mozzarella.
Here it's grilled. It's like what?
Rubbery.
Rubbery.
We won't want to say that table side. I
No.
always feel like it's very firm cheese.
It's kind of like a mozzarella.
Are we still doing some party?
Yes, I'll
It tastes
explain
like
that.
rubber tires.
I have a video of it.
That's good, I like it.
Okay, so everybody heard. So now you heard a lot of different things. It's a firm. I mean, I don't know if they're. I saw what it looks like, but it comes like in solid, and they cut it off almost like a meatloaf. Okay, and then they cut it. So it's a very firm, squeaky kind of cheese that is very, very traditional in Greek restaurants. It's very traditional in Middle Eastern restaurants. And it is served flambéed at the table. Flambéed at the table means what? On fire, like Bananas Foster. It's flambéed at the table. The thing to ask people when they order that dish. Oh, well, we would like to have the halloumi cheese. We would like to have the buttermilk calamari. When they order the halloumi cheese, this is one of those things that you directly say this. Because you know what? When they make this food, the last thing you want Delphine and Magic to do is what? Void stuff off, or not void, but remove and comp stuff off because you didn't explain to them. I'm telling everybody right now that when this came out, this was the most voided thing on the menu. Or, sorry, comped. Because the halloumi cheese contains brandy. Okay? I asked you, order 2 things for me, including the halloumi cheese, and I'll tell you myself. Okay, let me describe the halloumi to you. Do you like brandy? You don't like brandy? Okay. Well, I just wanted to let you know that the dish has a lot of brandy on the dish. Well, I can recommend other things. You can get it without it, but that is the center of the dish, is the brandy.
Well, you can get the cheese without bread.
And you can get anything. As Chef Rich said, if they can do it, they're going to do it. Okay? But that dish has brandy in it. And not everybody likes brandy. Okay? But if you don't like brandy, you are not going to like that dish.
Yeah, it's
Okay?
hard.
It is, it's like eating some halloumi cheese with a shot of brandy. Okay?
Is the cheese marinated with the brandy? Is that what
It's not marinated per se in it, but the whole presentation of that's like getting bananas fostered but with no bananas.
No, that's what unites it.
I'd like to have chocolate ice cream, but not the chocolate. It's part of this concept of the dish. So we don't have to make a big deal about it. Just when they order, just say, well, did you enjoy brandy? Yes, okay, good, because you will enjoy this dish that has a lot of brandy. You never say something negative about it, or you don't want it to appear like, I don't know if I should order this dish. But when somebody says that, you just think, well, do you enjoy brandy? Yes, I love brandy. Okay, good, you will love this dish then, because that's a lot of brandy on it. Good, that's what they said. But if they don't like it, then what did you just do? She doesn't like brandy. So you just what? She would have gotten that, it would have flambéed to the table, she would have taken a bite of that, and she'd have been like, ooh. And all of a sudden, here, Delphine, could you please comp this off? No, we don't want to do that. Okay? So that's one thing that I wanted to go over. That's something that should never happen. So guess what? If one of these 2 managers have to comp your dish because it has brandy on it, what does that make you? You didn't listen to me when I went over. I'm telling you now. There should be no comps because of that. This stuff is really expensive to make. It's really, really expensive. It's not like they make a lot of money. Magic said, where do you make a lot of money here? On the, where do you think movie theaters make a lot of money? Yeah, and the drinks, the $10 drinks that are this big. Well, this restaurant does not make a huge amount of money on food. You can't be voiding and comping stuff off because you didn't tell people. Okay, so spicy cigars, lemonade with feta, Brussels sprouts, lamb shawarma. What do you think those are?
Sellers.
Most popular here. If you worked here 1 year, never suggested anything, and waited on 5 table 5 days, those would be the most ordered things. Those are the go-tos. Those are what the managers used to send their friends when they sit down. Those are what they would always send people, especially